place initiative. I'd never heard of this before until Michael explained it. It's certain shops, places, town council offices around the county, just putting little signs up in their premises. And, you know, if people are confused, can be frustrated, anxious about public transport or whatever. Yeah, telephone number where you can just ring up, get some assistance, or just sit there, take a cup of water or whatever it is, while you wait for some assistance or get some friendly advice. I really like that idea. I think that's something we could have to champion, maybe through area boards, and get champion others to assist with, maybe. Another one was training for public transport, and I think this one's come in. We did a similar project to this last week in Caution with NEETs, that's those not in education, employment and training, and also the stroke group as well. I watched this stroke group video yesterday, very powerful. And it's about, you know, when people are getting on public transport, bus drivers not being aware that people might have got a disability because it's not obviously, you know, it's not obvious. And just pull away, for example, before people are seated. And also public transport information if the bus is late. Maybe a little sign on the bus stops that people can ring up, you know, if they've missed the bus. So again, it's a safe refuge if they've missed the bus or the bus is running late or they're not sure. And for example, one of the, I can't remember his name, talked about the anxiety about the bus going past the stop. You know, so a bus driver just being aware of where people need to get off the bus stop and stopping and just telling people. And the last one was easily signage in public places. Again, we made aware on our table that although there is legislation around that, it's not, you know, there are some places not following that legislation. And looking at the agenda for today, for example, first time I've seen that, and I really like that idea. And I think I'll take that forward with area boards and agendas so that people can follow things easier. So that was our group in a nutshell.
The first action that we came up with was to use the DVD as part of a much wider dissemination tool so that we can try and continue to increase the awareness of needs of people with learning disabilities or autism. So we came up with examples like taking the video into schools to raise the awareness of young people, and ideally it would be great if the DVD, you know, could become alive by actually having someone come to present the DVD as well when it goes into the wider arena to try and raise awareness. The second one was about encouraging to increase independence, to encourage the formation of more self-help groups, and that would enable people to gain the confidence to then perhaps get involved in other organisations and sit on other boards so that they can exert influence and again raise awareness of their needs. And thirdly, we talked about information and people being aware of actually all of the resources, all of the technology, all of the information that's available to them, so having some kind of central information point. And we talked locally in Calne about the hub that exists here, and using that potentially as a way of bringing information together. And also there's a job club that runs from the hub, and it would be great if the job club could be encouraged to reach out to people with learning disabilities and autism to help increase work opportunities.
First of all, I'd just say our table just were really impressed with the film and just found it really moving. We came up with 3 actions, one around kind of friendship and support, one around tackling the sort of boredom issue and increasing confidence, and one around education. So firstly, the friendship support. Our table came up with the idea of a buddying scheme. So finding people who could be there to sort of help maybe with practical things like taking people out shopping, help with reading, things like that. And maybe it would just be for the first time they want to take someone on a certain journey that they have to do till they get the confidence that they can then start doing it on their own. The idea around this was maybe linking with sheltered housing where there's people who maybe have skills and expertise that they could share, but they're feeling isolated, and so they could sort of, it would benefit both parties because it would benefit them for the friendship. The issues that have come up around the people not necessarily dealing with letters and about the low rate of crimes reported, and we felt that if somebody had somebody that they trusted and knew well, then it might be somebody that they'd be prepared to go to talk if they did have a problem or if they did experience any kind The second point was around this, they said in the film that there was issues around boredom and confidence, and we had two people from the Calne Environment Network on our table who said they're looking to set up a community garden, and so that would be a place where they could get people to come along and help out there, and it could help with confidence, help with new skills. There's a group in Swindon called Twigs who are doing something similar, and they're also working with the Wiltshire Wildlife Trust on that. And then thirdly, around education, it was just mentioned about sharing the DVD, and that's what our group was saying as well, about sharing it with the schools, with John Bentley School and with Springfields, but also maybe sharing it with local employers, and so that maybe working with another organisation such as the Roundtree Foundation to share the DVD with employers and their staff, so that they maybe felt a bit more aware of some of the issues and therefore a bit more prepared and sort of knowledgeable to be able to employ somebody.
We had a really enthusiastic conversation on our table actually, with lots of ideas flowing, but really it started with work and talking about the education of employers about what skills that people, all people have, and about those people with disabilities and autism, and how we can promote that. Not only to employers but also to individuals, families, schools, because actually we should have ordinary life expectations for all our young people and growing up into adulthood. Okay, we've got a champion for that, which is brilliant to take on those issues, which was Bethany from Springfield, so thank you very much. I'll just mention as well, one of the things that we were discussing is that we do have job coaches within Wiltshire, and we were discussing about job carving and the fact that we need to do that a little bit more as well. But actually, it doesn't actually match up to the statistics, which was on the DVD. I think it talked about 5% had a job within Wiltshire. I don't know where those statistics are from, but somehow we need to kind of, how do we get more people into employment? Okay, so the next thing was about public transport. We talked about how transport goes hand in hand with work. Obviously, you need to get to a place of employment, and we wanted to know what are we doing to make public transport friendly for everybody. So it's just a question posed out today. I know there's some transport people in the room, because that would be really interesting to find out. And also, a colleague was talking about an initiative in a location outside of Salisbury, I think just outside of Wiltshire, called Talking Buses, where they have, I think, a key, is it right, Julie? They have a key fob and they press it and it reads out the bus times to them, so it takes away lots of issues. Now, I understand that it's quite expensive and there's lots of issues, but actually it would be really useful to find out how that works, what are the benefits for the individuals and the long-term benefits for everybody, both in terms of the outcomes for an individual but also financially as well. Again, someone was talking about accessibility of information, we agreed with that. Travel training for individuals is happening already, needs to happen more as well. We had Nikki Lewis on our table who agreed to take away some of the actions in terms of showing the DVD to try to promote it around all area boards, take it forward, and we need to start educating people about autism and learning disabilities, and again, skill set and how people can contribute to society just the same as everybody else. Finally, we talk about safety. I don't know whether people are aware that there is an autism alert card, for example, around Wiltshire. We were saying that some people know about it, other people don't, and we need to promote that. We were asking the question, how many people already have the autism alert card? We wasn't sure, but someone's going to take that away, community support officer is going to take that away and find out the numbers for us, so we can start to assess is it working, how well it's working, and are people getting, is it working to the best effect, basically. We went into social isolation and was talking about some of the same issues we were saying about friendships and things like that. However, we were coming to the end of the time, so just to check in at the end, very big issue within our team. We were saying it's very, very important, but we didn't have a massive time to discuss that. But we were saying about also, is there enough focus on independent living skills, and is there enough proactive planning into becoming an adult, moving into jobs, moving into own homes, things like that. And finally, one last action, and then I'm going, because I know you're all sick of me. It'd be really useful to have a list of contacts of everybody here today and where they're from, because I know certainly within our table we've started to contact, oh my gosh, you're doing that over there, and it would be good if we could all do that together. That's it. Thank you very much.
There were lots of points that came out of the discussion. I'm just going to pick on a few because I know everybody's looking forward to the sandwiches. One was addressing the concerns expressed in the film about people being not confident to go out in the evenings. We felt that it would be good if some evening activities could be organised that had safe transport provided as well, and that might be something that the area boards could help with funding for projects like that. So, you know, I'm happy to act as a champion about taking those sorts of things back to the council. I think it would be really good to have some activities that people could get involved with in the evenings, and otherwise, you know, they're sort of stuck at home. So that was one. The other thing was looking at, there was concerns expressed on our table about using public transport, worries about it and using it when there are children in the morning on the bus and finding that intimidating. So we did think we need to think a little bit more about some more community-led transport options linked to activities. This wouldn't just apply, of course, to people with learning difficulties. It could apply to all sorts of activities. So maybe we need to start thinking about how we can encourage more community-led transport schemes to link in with people's needs. And the final idea that we come up with, and there's lots of other stuff on our sheet here, which I know Jane's going to add to the list, but one of the other things was we felt it would be really, really useful if there was some form of agency or group that worked to make connections between people and opportunities. People, that might be volunteering opportunities, work opportunities, training opportunities, or even leisure opportunities. So, for example, an agency that would look at people's aspirations and try and provide opportunities. Like taking Ashley, for example, when he's wanting to go and see West Ham, you know, there must be some other West Ham fans in Wiltshire who might be able to link up with Ashley and take him up to see West Ham, though why you want to watch West Ham, I can't understand. But you know, that's an agency that can make those connections and support people to do the things that they want to do for themselves without having to be totally dependent on public services. So I think there's a real kernel of an idea there that I think it would be great to get a little group together to try and to work out how that might work. And I know we've got the volunteer centre at Grow, and it may be something that we could start discussing with them about a sort of parallel service that looked at linking people to opportunities. So just an idea, but that was just a flavour of the great stuff that came out of our group.
In terms of the issues, we, again, I guess very similar to that's already been said, that first one was really based about safety awareness. Maybe we need to identify people at risk, especially in respect of people on social behaviour. We should ensure that the appropriate authorities are made aware, and I'm not just talking about the police, it could be housing associations or people that sort. But equally, one of the things that we found out today, that there is equipment that could be used. Apparently Wiltshire Council have a thing called a memo cam that can be fitted to the front door of a person who's subject to antisocial behaviour, and it can recall people visiting. So I think it's understanding the equipment that can be used to alleviate this sort of problem. And I also should have said at the start, but we've got no champions either yet, but we'll work on that. The next one really is life skills training. We heard lots of times about people being independent, and we thought maybe one of the nice things is to establish some sort of life skills syllabus. Initially, you could start, say, on basic cookery, but then you could quickly see how that could develop. If you sort of took microwave cooking to conventional cooking, you could understand the positives of using a microwave, but then you start to look at the negatives, which in terms of it costs more money. So you start to bring in budgetary understanding. So we thought that would be good. Lots of, as we saw in the film, lots of people in the film tend to have carers from the family. The problem is, if this primary carer has to go into hospital, that presents all sorts of problems. So again, maybe part of this life skills training is how to use basic household equipment. And I should add that this probably applies to all of us rather than those who've done it. The third one, and again it's sort of been covered before, is all about travel assistance. I don't know about ever wanting to go and see West Ham, but timetables, especially bus timetables, can be very confusing. The thing is nowadays you try and put more and more information in, which means more and more text. And I think, as we've all seen seen today with the fantastic agendas, that you can actually make it so much easier if you use symbols. So what we would say is people need to look at timetables, simplify timetables, use more symbols, but also maybe use the arrow, you are here, on some sort of graphical display to actually show people where they are within the transport system and maybe show which direction they should be using, and maybe better use of digital displays instead of text.